Well, then I suppose you guys are different though, because people can have like breakthroughs and shifts. They don't necessarily then do like shift, like actually then embody it and straight away jump. Whereas you guys
Hmm.
tend to have the thing and then you're in a new reality. You're like,
Yeah,
bloop.
like at this stage, it really just feels like there's no way to even keep track of insights and things like that because it's just like it's instant and embodiment. It's just like you get it, you shift, and you're
Yeah,
already done with the old reality.
yeah, because you're like so in the space of now detaching from
Hmm.
ideas and beliefs, and like you just like don't even think about it twice. You're like, oh, this doesn't help, okay, fine, and you're
Hmm.
done and you moved on. Whereas like on Sunday's call you were saying like, so why don't you just
Hmm.
go there now? And she's like,
Yeah.
I'm on the verge, and you're like, go there now. And it's strange because I know what she means though, like some you can't exactly, when you ask yourself like, why don't I, there is no reason not to, but for whatever reason,
You can't.
or you believe you can't, you believe it can't be that straightforward. Like,
Yeah.
okay, oh, I just have to make the decision.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to make the decision. Like, for whatever reason, you're like, no, I need, like, I'm
Some
always like, time. I need time to process, or
or
like,
or some ritual or some
yes,
process or some technique or
yes.
something like something for the mind to believe that it has
I need a
happened.
little flourish. I need a little, like, something in this, yeah, something more than just my decision. Whereas you believe in the power of your decisions and like how
Mhm.
actually powerful that is to just drop it. So
So this is a very powerful insight right here. Like what stops people from shifting instantly? Like I have been writing about this in the book Complete that is still incomplete. That I'm also writing about it in the 21-day liberation program. So it's going to show up in many places that the ego loves suffering. The ego wants to prolong the process of being complete. The ego can't accept that I can just be complete right now instantly. So enlightenment has to become a goal in the future. And then people come up with wisdom schools of enlightenment where there is this 10-step process of 5 stages of enlightenment or whatever it is. It can't be here now. The ego must survive. So the ego will keep coming up with, oh, it can't be immediate. Oh, I got the insight, I had my epiphany, but okay, now I will take some time to process it. Then I will do the work of shifting, and I will do this ritual, and I will do this cleansing, and I will do this technique and this exercise, and then it will be done. Instead of just being like, I get it, and I shift, and I am a new person now. I have already shifted, like it's done. And even this insight, like people can integrate this insight right now while listening to this. Like, I don't need any ritual to change my mind. I don't need any technique to change my mind. I just change my mind because I decide to change my mind. And one of the ways to do that is to have compassion for yourself for regressions or for old energies that keep coming up. So if they do come up, it's just the old energy meeting the new decision, and you just again move through it. So there is compassion for the old energy that is somewhere in the system, but what shifts is your identification of who you are. So if I am just pure consciousness, I can shift in an instant. I am constant change. That's my other booklet, is becoming change. How do you live as change? Is that you are nothing constant. You are constantly shifting. And whatever is stagnant in your system or old in your system keeps moving through this consciousness, and it keeps meeting the new programs. And if something old does come up, it just gets transformed into the new program. So there is compassion, there is space for the old energy to move through the new. So it doesn't mean that when I say I have shifted, that all the energy in my system has to be shifted instantly. As long as you basically what you're doing is you're initiating the process of shifting all the energy in your system. So the moment the insight has been had, is done. I am this new person, and all the energy from the old reality is being sucked into this new reality, this new person. And that may take its own time, but your identity has already shifted to this new person.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. That's exactly it. It's the for me, it's the if I make I've had the insight, and if I make the shift now, right now, the decision, then I feel like I will be held accountable when or if I somehow slip back and regress in some way. So I think you've freed my mind a lot with that. Um,
And it's to realize that you are not regressing, it's just old energy coming up into the new identity. It's like, this
mm,
is who I am now. This is the shifted me. This is the old me. And there is a wormhole in between through which energy is passing.
mhm.
And it's just let it pass and let it come into the new reality. And sometimes you may think that I is this old one. And again, just keep identifying with the new one. I am the new one.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I feel a lot of relief
Hmm.
from what you said.
And it's
Um,
a it's a practice. It's like once you start practicing this way of shifting, you can shift very quickly. Like eventually you'll get it and you will just become change. As I said, you your identity stops being something static. Your identity is change itself. So you are never a defined personality or a defined identity. You are change.
yeah, that's wonderful, and it can like the imagery it's conjuring up for me is really interesting as well.
Hmm.
I I do just want to check in. So with this shift, immediate shift, how much of like you were saying, it's based on like you can just make the decision. I am done with the old way of behaving. Um, from now on, that's not who I am anymore. But how much of the effectiveness of this do you feel boils down to belief in yourself?
What does that even mean?
In the sense that, like, when you often teach about setting boundaries,
Mhm.
and it's so much more about like the energy behind
Mhm.
the words. It's not just saying the word. Like it's not the decision is not you saying I've made a decision. There's
Mhm.
some sort of internal
Yeah, yeah.
energetic shift that also takes place. And what I mean by that is specifically like it's almost like how much power do my internal decisions have?
As
Because
much as you give them, that's that's how I would put it.
this is what I'm coming up against is like I feel like it boils down to on some level that I don't give them my decisions enough
Mhm.
weight. That
Mhm.
and it's almost like it's the
But
whole
my feeling is that why that could be happening because it keeps coming back to uh these old programs again of like, oh, it has to take time, or it has to be difficult, or there needs to be a ritual, or there needs to be something for my mind to believe this. And once those are cleared out and you actually just start practicing this, where it's done, the decision holds. This is who I am. If you just keep practicing this, there is the old programs again, they start shifting, they start getting destroyed. because you start realizing there is no need for any ritual.
Okay. Yeah, I can't argue with that logic.
So
Yeah.
these are like the ego's mechanisms to keep prolonging the suffering. These are the ego's. This is the ego's way to survive. It's like if it is easy, the ego has nothing to hold on to.
Ah, okay. Okay. So the
In a way,
easy,
in a way, you can see that the the ego is the old energy, and it is trying to survive. It's trying to keep itself alive, and for that, it cannot go through the wormhole. So it will keep trying to convince you that you are it. And of course, you don't want to kill yourself. So the moment you are it, you will get sucked into all its beliefs and programs. That, oh, one day I will be free of. But the moment you are not it and you keep reminding yourself, this is not me. I am change. That means I am nothing static. I am nothing in a sense. Then the ego can't convince me of anything.
okay, so it's even more, are you saying it's even more powerful actually to identify with change than it is to identify with whatever new version of yourself that you're trying to become? Because then you're less likely to get locked into anything. If you stick with I am change, then yeah, there's nothing to hold on to. You're right. Okay.
Like so the way I talk about becoming change is that when you are prior to becoming change, if you are an identity that is changing, right? If you are a person, an ego, or whatever it is that is changing, you are in a static universe where you are changing. And when I say static universe, that doesn't mean that the universe is not changing, but the universe is evolving and you are changing with it. When you become change, you become that through which the universe changes. So you become a portal for the universe to change, for the universe to transform. So you are a portal. You are no longer an identity that is changing. The whole universe is changing with you, through you. So for me, it goes back to those, like words of wisdom, like see the change that you want to be in the world, or be the change that you want to see in the world. And once you are that change, if you are just change itself, the universe keeps changing through you. So whatever insight you have, the whole universe shifts. It's not only your old identity that shifts, the whole universe shifts because you, if you are not that anymore, the universe is not the same anymore. There's a whole different universe happening right
Right. It's interesting because it's like I'm battling with the concept of you are changing you by changing and shifting, you are swapping timelines and jumping into different realities. So I'm kind of like stuck in that whole like, is it are you saying
until
both
until
you
the well, becoming change is becoming the eye of the storm, where you no longer change.
okay,
You stop changing. It's like the whole universe is spinning around you, but you are not changing because there is nothing to change. You are nothing. You are
okay,
just you are nothing essentially. And
okay,
in that nothingness, you can take on any identity. You can take on any, you can act as anything, you can become anything, you can take on any mask. You're not attached to any way of being.
okay, okay. That's cool. That's really cool. I got like swept away with Arya from Game of Thrones as well with
Uh-huh.
her like what they face their I
The,
can't remember.
the faceless men,
Is it
the
Faceless
many,
Men?
Yeah, the many-faced god is a deity worshipped by the mysterious cult of assassins known as the Faceless Men.
Faceless men. Okay. Because I was like, am I just confusing it with the faceless beings?
Beings, yeah. But
Yeah.
it was a synchronicity because
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, because when you put it like that, I have these cool imagery to like
Mhm,
hold on to. Because prior to like it, the whole concept of like becoming nothing, until, we've had these kind of conversations, it just does not appeal, if I'm honest. Like, because, my ideas attached to the word nothing and all of that, like it just, there isn't, again, yeah, there's nothing to project, there's nothing to, it doesn't conjure anything. It's just like, what does that mean? What does that even mean, becoming nothing? But when you explain it as like becoming change, because then I'm like, well, there's something I can do, there's something cool and fun I can do. And then you kind of like, again, just showed behind the curtain of like, oh no, it's still nothing. It's still emptiness because there's no ego. Yeah. Okay. So effectively becoming nothing is, yeah, just the ultimate ego death
mhm. Yeah,
is the
eventually you reach that place where change is nothing. Like it's the same because like
changes.
we say, like constant is like change is the only constant, which means that it that which is change is never change. So that is the eternal reality. Like that's the paradox of
Yes.
the unchanging reality.
Yes. That's what I'm struggling. Well, I was struggling to comprehend, but I think the eye of the storm imagery was really powerful for that.
Mhm,
Because at first I still imagined me standing in the eye of a storm
mhm.
until you were like, no, you are the eye, like,
Yeah.
or the nothing.
So wherever you move, you are still the same,
Mm,
but everything keeps shifting.
mm,
Like that's why I loved Messiah that last episode where she like just before collapsing, the way she says it, like
uh,
Al-Masi, the eye of the storm. Brilliant. And you,
oh,
you can see how the whole show was orchestrated that way. Like he literally just goes and stirs things up everywhere. And he is that emptiness. Like he can take on any form, any
yeah,
identity, any character.
yes. And it's occurred to me, like, I've always thought that it'd be such a cool experience to be an actor for that reason, of just getting to live these different
Mhm,
characters, these different lives, um, in a way that feels more profound than just reading. Like
mhm,
actually acting it out seems really interesting. And now you're basically saying, well, you can do that with your life. Like you can just be that in any moment, not just when a camera's rolling.
yeah.
Really, it's quite exciting.
Well, this was Gurdjieff's teaching. Like be an actor.
Yeah, because it's so um like my mind is genuinely like trying to
Mhm,
bring it down and
mhm,
yeah, just like conceptualize it into something. But there's, again, it's like too many contradictions all at the same time that somehow make sense. and and yet they're all contradictory. And yeah, I think my mind has just been blown apart. So you've mentioned the becoming change before, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But now you've given me some more context to it, or like more
mhm,
texture to it, and what it actually, like, some parts of what it entails. And it is mind blowing. I'm glad you're doing a book about this as well, because it's such a different angle to come at
mhm,
versus the whole surrendering and just going with the flow of life
mhm.
and accepting what is and all of those things. Um,
Like I feel like it's all the same, but they have just been dried out, you know. It's like they
Yeah,
have lost their efficacy just because it's so overused.
absolutely.
Like all the life has been sucked out of them
Yeah,
because of overuse. And like it's just like, you know, the divine keeps offering these new terms to for
yeah,
the mind to not be able to do anything with them.
yeah.
And then of course, you know, like 10 years down the line, even these terms will be overused, and then someone will come up with something new and different.
That's what it, yeah, I think you're right. That's what it is. It's there's also like the idea of, because the imagery of the storm becoming the eye of the storm, like hurricanes and natural disasters, and these are types of change that people generally really want to avoid.
Yeah.
Because all it makes you feel is it's something that just comes and completely decimates your life, like
Hmm.
fucks it up completely. And what you're inviting people to do is saying, not just surrender that the hurricane has come and fucked up your life and accept it. You're saying go with the hurricane now, like literally join it, become it, and you go fuck up someone's life in a good way.
You basically fuck up the universe. But that's what I was saying. It's like becoming change means the whole universe is spinning around. Like the whole universe is going into that wormhole and coming out on the other side constantly.
Which
Like
is,
you become like a black hole essentially, where you're just constantly drawing and things are entering into the new reality through you.
yes, yeah, that's a really good point, because when you say portal, I think I started thinking it would be like one directional, in that change is coming out through you. But you're saying it's a portal, so you're sucking things in. You are, yeah, fucking up things as well, which is so much more exciting than
Mhm.
just like be cool, just meditate, accept it, it's fine, surrender to what is. Like it's like
Yeah, like
works.
essentially, yeah, you're also pulling through your own old energy. And like if we come down to just the level of the individual and the inner world, when we
Mhm,
talk about the universe, there's also the inner world. Like, you know, you become that black hole within yourself, where you're pulling in all the old energy through you and putting it out into a new identity. And that identity can just be changed, something that has no fixed shape or form or anything, and it just keeps morphing
mhm,
to the reality. Or you can even choose to redefine it into something specific that you want. So you can even have a new identity. There's nothing saying that you can't have a new identity. Like I created a new identity for myself, but that identity itself is so fluid that
yeah.
other than a name, you can't really latch on to anything.
But this is like a whole other
It's
uh
another level because there is no separation anymore. It's like it's not like surrender to change, as though change is something other than you. As you become change, you become one with that divine change, nothingness, whatever you want to call it. You are the absolute. You are in oneness.
yeah, I like that a lot more than just surrender to because it's also there's a transformation that is offered, like, and also it's such an interesting discussion about becoming change and change being nothing, because right now my mind is like, it's all the contradictory aspects of change is nothing. And yeah, like you said, also becoming,
But
unifying with change.
Yeah, finally it's about collapsing the mind. What we are doing right now is just collapsing the mind. And you just stop and you enter in that middle space.
Hmm. This is it. Like I don't even like. There's nothing to say,
Mhm.
really.
That's
I'm
where
like,
we
it's like a podcast, and I'm like, I really should say more, but there's nothing.
it's
There's
just to leave people here in the emptiness and say
yeah.
thank you.